Good morning. I want to talk about a verse today. And the verse is Luke 9:23. And he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. And he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me. I'm 28 now. When I was 20, I sat down with a mentor of mine, a coach, if you will, and he was talking to me and he asked me a couple questions. He said, you told me you want to take Christianity seriously, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay. And you said that you want your spiritual walk to be full of commitment. I was like, yeah, I want to be committed. I think I am committed. And he said, okay, when you first talked to me, you said you didn't want to be the type of Christian that's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You wanted to dive in completely. Is that right? And I said, yes. Why are you asking me these questions? And he goes, I don't believe you. And I was taken back. I was like, you don't believe me? What do you mean you don't believe me? We've been meeting once a month for like a year now, and all I do is ask you questions about Christianity. What do you mean you don't believe me? So I said, okay, why? And he said, okay, well, do you read your Bible? Kind of looked down for a second. I was like, not as much as I should. He said, okay. Do you pray? Okay, not as much as I should. I said, okay. Imagine you're in a situation where a friend wants to hang out with you. And you say, yeah, I would love to do that. I want to hang out with you. Give me a day and time, we'll do it. And the day and time rolls around. And you have a reason that you can't go. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. My car's broken, I gotta get it fixed. I just overplanned. Too many things, sorry. I'm just busy, just real busy right now. Or, I'm just not feeling well. First time, not a big deal. Friend's gonna be understanding. That's okay. Yeah, let's just plan for another time. Let's do it another time. That's all right. Second time rolls around, same thing. Oh, I can't, I'm sorry, I got this or that or whatever going on. Friend, okay, yeah, no problem. You want to try to schedule again? Third time. I can't, sorry, I'm just so busy. I got this or that or whatever. Fourth time. I can't, I'm sorry, it's just like, I know I want to. I want to though. Fifth time. Sixth time. Seventh time. Eighth time. Ninth time. 10th time. At some point, your friend's gonna look at you and say, yeah, I just don't think you want to hang out with me. I know what you say. I know you say you do. But you've let me down 10 times. Like, I've been putting you on my schedule 10 times, and all 10 times you've not followed through. So it just feels like you don't want to hang out with me. I don't think you actually want to hang out with me. And so you can imagine Jesus sitting down at the table every single morning and saying, hey, do you want to have a conversation? You want to sit with me? You want to talk? You want to hang out? And we're like, yeah, that'd be great. But I can't right now. I'm busy. I gotta go to work. I gotta make some food. Gotta play some video games. Second time, Jesus is still sitting there. Hey, you want to hang out with me? Yeah, I swear I want to, but I overbooked. I gotta go do this thing. I just don't have time right now. But I'll get to you later. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time. And I was like, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that I'm saying one thing and I'm doing another, right? My mouth isn't going in one direction, but my body's going in another. And he was right, you know. I took that into account, and I thought about that, you know. I had a problem. And the problem was I said I wanted one thing, but I really wanted another. I had a gap to fill. You know, I was like contradicting myself from moment to moment. I would say I was committed, but then I wouldn't show up. I would say I wanted to, but then I didn't follow through. I would say, yeah, I want to hang out, but then I wouldn't make time for it. I would say, yeah, let's do it, but then I wouldn't prioritize it. And so the message that was getting across was, you say that you're committed to Christ, but then you don't do any of the things that it takes to be committed. And so the message you're sending me is that I don't believe you. You know, there's a lot of people that say they want to follow Jesus. And maybe they don't know what that means. For me, I feel like it was more of a clarification thing. I just needed to be called out. Because I instantly started praying and reading more. But some people know. It's just easier to say one thing because you can look a certain way, but then do something else. And so this verse, to deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow him, what he's doing is he's saying what it takes to act in a way that's following him. Like there's a literal practical example of this. Imagine that you're walking behind him and you look to the left and then you start going in that direction. And Jesus is like, hey, where you going? And you're like, don't worry, I'm following you. But you're walking away from him. It's like you're saying one thing, but you're doing another. And so what he's saying is like, here's how you get your mouth and your body to line up. Here's how you get what you say and what you do to work in harmony with each other. And the prerequisites for that was to deny yourself, pick up your cross, and that's how you follow him. And so it's a call to commitment. He's giving you the steps of commitment. If you want to be a committed follower of Christ, here's what you do. You deny yourself, you pick up your cross daily, and you follow him. And so I want to talk about 3 things that can help us do that. 3 things that can help us pick up our cross, deny ourselves, and follow him. And hopefully you'll walk away with a little bit of a better understanding of what it means to follow Christ. So the first thing that I want to say is we got to stop trusting in ourselves and we got to start trusting in God. We have to stop trusting in ourselves and start trusting in God. We have an awful tendency to only believe in things that we can see. You know, if we can see it, it's right there. It's easy to believe in it when we can see it. It doesn't take faith to believe in something when we can see it. There's proof. It's right there in front of us. It's as concrete can get. And so we have a problem where unless we see it, we don't believe it. You know, the whole scientific process is based on this. You have a hypothesis, you run a test, you observe the patterns of the test, and you come to a conclusion. That's a ground up solution. So what you're saying is, here's what I've noticed, and what I've noticed is causing me to believe. Another way of saying it is seeing is believing. I believe based off of what I see. Now, there's a problem with this. We can't see everything. We don't know everything. We don't know the variables. There's an infinite amount of context, and we are limited beings. We're limited beings, and we're looking at what's unlimited. There's no possible way that we could ever create a plan that would ever account for everything, because we don't know everything. And so if we only believe based off what we see, we are limiting ourselves to ourselves. And that's a bad plan, because we're a bad God. So we have to stop trusting in ourselves, because when we trust in ourselves, we trust in something that's limited, and we cap ourselves. And if you want to walk through life limited, by all means go ahead, but you have to realize that that's what you're doing. We have to move the trust from being trusted in ourselves to trusting in God. Why? Well, God's unlimited. God's all-powerful and all-knowing. God knows the context of everything. God knows the infinite variables. He doesn't have the problem of limitation. And so his plan takes into account everything. It takes into account all variations. And so anything that could happen is fixed, because the creator of the universe is all powerful and all knowing. And he has a plan that you're called to step into. That's actually, do you know that you've actually been created with a purpose and with a calling? And that the things that you're good at, the gifts that you've been given, are for that plan? If you trust in yourself, you're limiting those gifts, because you're not stepping into your purpose. But if you trust in God's plan, all of the things that you're good at are going to amplify, because he's called you to use those according to his plan. And so God knows the most about you, how many hairs are on your head, what you like and dislike, what you feel that's good and bad, what your desires are, what your dreams and goals are, what your responsibilities are, where you wish to go and where you hate to be. He knows all of those things. And he has a plan that accounts for that. And what happens when we trust in ourselves instead of God is we say, okay, so based on what I see, what my perspective is, what my opinion is, what my experience is, this is the way forward. But since you don't know the things that God knows, you're creating a plan that's going to lead you to the wrong destination, and you're going to limit yourself. So we have to trust in God, not trust in ourselves. We have to trust in God and not trust in ourselves. That's number one. And just to tie it into the verse, deny himself means stop trusting in ourselves. Follow him means to trust in him. So you could say it like this, and then I'll move on. When you say you believe in God, what most people are saying is that they believe God exists. However, if I were to say that I believe in my son, or I believe in my wife, or that I believe in my friend, I'm not saying I believe they exist. Obviously they exist. What I'm saying is that I'm confident that what they're gonna, like what they say they're gonna do, they're gonna do. And so if we were to take that frame and put it over to I believe in God, we're not saying he exists. We're saying that we believe that what he says is going to happen. Well, he says that he loves us. He says that we have a purpose. He says that we have a calling. He says that we're unique and made special, and that there's a plan that he has for us. And so if we believe in him, we're trusting that's true over what we think, over what we see. So we have to deny ourselves, deny our plans, deny what we think and what we see. Understand that we're limited, and we have to follow him. We have to follow his plan. We have to follow what he says about us and step out in faith. Okay, so that's point number one. And point number two, focus on the opportunity and not the burden. It says pick up your cross. Pick up your cross. What does that mean? The cross is what Jesus was crucified on. He had to carry that cross up the mountain and he died on it. That's a heavy responsibility. Like, that's a heavy weight. It's a burden that he had to bear. Burden means weight. Burden means heavy. The heaviness, the burden of responsibility is real. Like, what he did for us cost him everything. But he did it for us. He did it for his people, so he could save us. When we think of kingdom work, the weight is heavy. He tells us to pick up our cross. You know, he exemplified it, and then he asked us to do the same thing. It's heavy because we're dealing with people. These are people. It's not like a secular job. I mow for a living. If I miss a yard, it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's say I just don't do it for a week. Not that big of a deal. Grass is gonna grow. Next week I'll have twice the grass to cut. It's because it's not a person. The weight of it's not that huge. When you're in kingdom work, when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with souls. You're dealing with eternity. It's a spiritual matter. And so when he's saying pick up your cross, yeah, the weight of that is real. Like, it's a big deal. You take a week off of, being in relationship with somebody who needs you, you steer them in the wrong direction, you give them bad advice, or you're a bad example. It's a much heavier than if you were to not mow grass for a week. It's not a secular thing. We're in the people business. You want to be a part of the kingdom of God? You got to deal with people. We got to think about people. We're dealing with souls. And that's heavy. That's a responsibility. Like, the difference between me mowing and me being a father to my son is a different weight. It's a different pressure. It's not the same. And so the burden, the heaviness of the responsibility is real. We have to actually pick that thing up. We have to pick up our cross. But we shouldn't focus on the weight. And I don't think Jesus focused on the weight. I don't think Jesus was, picking up his cross, going up the mountain thinking, freaking Carver, he messed it up again, he better thank me. It's like, I hate that I have to do this. I don't think he was like that. I think when Jesus was carrying that cross, even through all of the torture and the pain, he was thinking, this is painful now, but I'm going to save everybody that I love because of this. He wasn't focused on the burden. He was focused on the opportunity. It cost him everything. But what he was focused on was the people that he was saving, the people that he was loving. And so we got to focus on the opportunity. It's an opportunity to be a part of God's kingdom. It's an opportunity to follow him. It's an opportunity, to pray with Jesus and sit with Jesus at the table and read about him. It's an opportunity. It's a wait, but it's an opportunity. And just to put it into perspective, imagine like, ima- imagine LeBron James comes up to you and says, hey man, I need you to be a part of my team. I want you to, make sure that these things are handled. And I need you to start tomorrow. And you're like, what? If I did that, my whole life would have to change. you know, I'd have to quit my job. I'd have to make sure that I could be on traveling with him, whatever. But nobody in their right mind would be like, no, LeBron James, let me check my schedule. I'm busy. They wouldn't do that. But for some reason, when the creator of the universe, the one who put the stars into place and made you from dust and breathed life into your nostrils, the one that said, let there be light, and the entire universe exploded into existence. When that guy comes up to you and says, hey, I've created you for a purpose and for a reason, and all of the gifts that I've given you, I want to use those to push my kingdom. Do you want to be a part of that? We're like, I don't know. I just don't want to wake up 10 minutes earlier. Like, bro, come on. Really? You're focusing on the cost. You're focusing on the weight. You're focusing on the burden. If you were to focus on the opportunity, then it would be a no-brainer. It would be a no-brainer because you wouldn't be focusing on what it costs you. You'd be focusing on, holy crap, I get to be a part of God's kingdom and God's plan. He wants to use me. I get to do what I was created for and be fulfilled. And so, is it a weight? Yeah, it's a weight. We're dealing with souls. Picking up your cross isn't easy. It's a responsibility. But the opportunity is that you get to live a meaningful life where you get to be fulfilled, where everything that you're good at gets to be amplified and used in a way that doesn't just sow for this life, but you get to reap it in eternity. Where you get to change lives and help people meet Jesus for the first time. It's worth waking up 10 minutes earlier. It's worth the cost. You understand what I'm saying? So focus on the opportunity, not the weight, not the burden. Okay, so we got stop trusting in yourself and start trusting in God. And we got focus on the opportunity, not the burden. I got one more and then I'll leave you alone. Make it a part of your nature. You got to make it a part of your nature. What do I mean? So, nature is what happens when you leave something alone. Anytime that we mess with something, it stops being nature. So if you think of nature like the grass and the trees, the plants that are growing, the sun, all that stuff, nature is something that happens when you leave it to itself. So the sun is going to rise no matter what. Sun comes up, sun goes down, sunrise, sunset. Grass is going to grow in the spring. Thank God, I need to make my money off of it. Bees are going to make honey. The rain is going to come. I don't have to ask it to. It just does. Birds are going to chirp. Right? Wind's going to blow. Waves are going to crash. Squirrels are going to find their nuts. Like, nobody's asking them to do these things. They just do it. It's just in their nature, right? If you were to think of a personality, like let's say somebody comes up. Actually, I'll just give you a funny example. There's a guy in my family. He comes up, and he is a dude, and he's twice my age, and he kisses me on the forehead, sloppy wet kiss. Just right smack on the forehead. I had to wipe it off. That's just in his nature. That's just who he is. That's just what he does. Like, it makes sense in the context of him because I didn't ask him to do it, and it's not the first time. It's just what he does. It's in his nature. I'll give you another example. Let's say somebody comes up to you and they say, oh, this person said these things about you. You know, your feet smell. You're like, what? I don't think my feet smell. But that doesn't sound like something they would say. You know, they've always been good to me. They've never been mean to me. It doesn't sound like something they would say. It doesn't sound like it's in their nature, right? So nature is just what the thing it is. It is what it is. You don't have to tell it to do something. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to pick at it. It just is what it is. It operates as it is. It's nature. It's in its nature. And so if we're going to make something part of our nature, we got to do it daily. What do I mean? It says pick up your cross daily. It says pick up your cross every day, daily. So if we do something every single day, it's going to become a part of our nature. It's going to become what we call a habit. What's a habit? A habit is something that you've done so many times that it becomes the normal. I'll tell you how the habit is formed. All of us have habits, by the way. Some of us have good habits, some of us have bad habits. We all have a mix of habits. But it's the way that we operate because we've been operating that way. At some point in our lives, we set it into motion and now it's carrying us like a system. And so you could think of it like a bike. You have to build the bike, but then once you build the bike carries you, right? So how does it work? Well, we all have decisions that we make. We decide things. And what happens is, if we decide the same thing over and over again, our body starts to pick up on the pattern. And the body says, I've seen this before. You know, this is familiar to me. And catches on to the pattern, and it makes it so that you stop thinking about it. You don't have to think about it as much, right? And so it downloads it into your body. We call that muscle memory. Muscle memory is when we've done something so many times that it's literally like tattooed into our body. It can just operate. When we practice something like basketball, this is what's happening. At first, you know, something as simple as dribbling can be rough, can be tough. You gotta like focus on like where your hands go, like what to do with them, and you know, they say don't look at the ball, and you're like, what the heck? And then slowly but surely, you stop having to think about it because you've practiced it so many times, because you put so many reps in, because you've done it so many times, you know, because it's familiar and it's moved from your mind, conscious thought, having to focus on it, into your body, into muscle memory, into something that you can just do. And so that's how it becomes familiar. Now, when we think of habits, habits are things that I have done so many times that my body just operates. So a habit for me is when I wake up in the morning, I wake up, I walk downstairs, and I get an energy drink. Now, I'm not saying that's good for me, but that's what I do every morning. I don't have to think about that. I've been doing that for like 8 years. I don't wake up and go, man, I gotta go downstairs, I gotta get my energy drink so that I can feel alive. You know, like I don't do that. I wake up, I walk downstairs, I just do the thing. It's whatever. I don't think about it. I'm thinking about other things. I just know that that's what I do when I wake up. It's a habit. And we have habits on everything. So it's a part of my nature to get caffeine in the morning. If anybody were to watch me operate, they'd be like, oh, that's just in his nature. It's just what he does. Carver likes caffeine. Whether that's good or bad for me, Carver likes caffeine. I wake up and I get caffeine. It's just what I do. Another one's reading. I like to read. If you find me alone, what I'm probably going to be doing is reading. Nobody in my life would be like, no, that doesn't make any sense. They say, no, that's in his nature. It's just what he does. If you leave him to himself, that's what he does. It's in his nature, right? It's a habit. And so we got to take these habits that we have right now, and we got to make it to fit with what God is saying if we're going to follow him. We got to pick up our cross daily. That means that every day we got to decide. We're going to follow Christ. We're going to follow Christ today. And at first, if you're not used to doing that, what it's going to feel like is going upstream because it's against your nature. You know, you're swimming against your nature. But if you do it every single day, eventually it'll go from conscious thought into muscle memory. It'll go from something that's new to a part of your nature. And what feels like swimming upstream is going to switch. It's going to switch into feeling like the flow of the river is carrying you. And it's because you've changed your nature. You know, you've created new habits. You've picked up your cross. Day after day after day, you decided to follow Jesus. Day after day after day. Sun comes up, sun comes down. Sun comes up, sun comes down. Nobody had to told you. You just did it. It's a part of your nature now. And so you got to make it a part of your nature. You got to do it daily. You got to do it daily. And I just want to be clear. Jesus exemplified all three of these things. Trusting in the Father. He says, you know, this is a heavy burden to bear, Lord. So if there's any other way, I would like that. But not your will, or not my will, but your will be done. So he trusted in the Father. He trusted in God over himself. And then he focused on the opportunity, not the burden. Yeah, the weight of the cross is heavy, but it's also the ultimate opportunity. You look to the cross as a symbol of hope, not a symbol of weight. There's a reason for that. It's an opportunity to be in relationship with God. And Jesus knew that. He knew he was saving his people. And it was a part of his nature. He spent 33 years saying yes to the Father. He spent 33 years saying yes to God's plan. It was in his nature. When it was time to act, when it was time to pick up his cross, literally, it was in his nature to say yes. It's just who he was. And so we got to do these three things. We got to trust in God. We got to see the opportunity, and we got to make it a part of our nature to do so. And if we do that, I don't think we'll have any trouble denying ourselves and following him and picking up our cross daily. And so I'm just going to ask you, I'm just going to be real honest with you. Are you doing that? You know? Are you trusting God? Are you actually following him? Are you saying one thing and then actually doing it? Or are you saying one thing and doing another? Are you saying that you want to be a Christian, but you're not doing what it takes to follow him? Denying yourself, you know, picking up your cross daily and following him. Are you saying those things and then actually doing them? And if you're not, that's okay. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're in a situation where you just didn't know, or you hadn't thought about it yet. Or maybe you're in a situation where, you know, you've known to do it for a while, you just never taken the opportunity. Okay, this is a wait. It's a wait, but it's an opportunity. So we're going to focus on the opportunity right now. The opportunity is that if you started today, your relationship with Jesus can begin to grow. You know, they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So let's start today. Look at the opportunity. Sit down with him just for a week. Just do it for a week. Set an alarm on your phone so that you'll remember. And when the alarm goes off, at whatever time you decide, just think, oh, Jesus wants to talk to me for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Just do it for a week and see what happens. See what following him does for your life. Okay, that's all. I'll see you guys on the next one.